SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
Treat yourself to Fan and Johnny's, Greenwood's best kept secret. Enjoy famous crab bisque, fried crawfish pasta salad, Delta favorite fried catfish, hand-cut steaks, and daily specials bursting with southern flavor. Visit us at 117 Main Street Wednesday through Friday for lunch and dinner. BYOB and ask about private parties. Fan and Johnny's, where every meal is unforgettable.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21. I want you to believe me, baby. I have lots of fun. I'm a man.
The gypsy woman told my mother before I was born, I got a boy child's coming. He's gonna be a son of a gun. He's gonna make pretty women's jump and shout. Then the world wanna know what this all about. But you know I'm here.
Just a little extra blues for you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, and we are glad to be with you. Thanks for joining us for the start of your day. Thanks for making us part of your routine and doing this on a daily basis. Alongside Will East, I'm Richard Cross. We welcome you. Mornings presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. You can join the conversation online on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. We have reached the point in the forecast where almost everybody I've bumped into for the last day and a half has been like, it's hot out there. Yeah, it's hot. About tired of this heat. Man, have you seen what it's going to be like this weekend? That conversation is on rinse and repeat. And the reason is, from a forecast standpoint, you're looking at the potential for triple-digit temperatures starting Friday, it looks like, but high 90s before then. And that's across much of the state of Mississippi. Senatobia today, 96 for you with a low overnight of 78. Just a whisper of a chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon. Heat index is between 105 and 110. And what little wind you have out of the southwest, it's going to be humid. Starkville, 95 for the high today, 98 for the overnight low. Heat index, 110 southwest winds. Vicksburg, 96. 107 for the heat index. Southwest wind. If you are sensing a theme here, you've got it. Wiggins, Mississippi, southern part of the state, 94 degrees. Low in the mid to upper 70s for you. Chance of thunderstorms a little higher the farther south you go. Maybe 30% or so for that shower or pop-up thunderstorm today. So dangerous heat indices, especially for those who are outside or are going to be outside. Will, you got your you ever tried on one of those little fans that goes around your neck? Here, so you laugh, as did I. It's like the little deal, and it's got like two little fans. It's a USB charger.
Yeah.
We went to the beach, I don't know, a year ago, and my mom had one of those. And I was like, really? That's how you're going to roll, Mom? And then I tried that bad boy on, and I'm like, oh my, this is lovely. Lovely.
This is kind of odd, but on Sunday, which is kind of when temperatures reach their peak, according to my app, where would you rather be? Gulfport or Corinth? If you're trying to avoid the heat.
It just feels like a trick question. Well, normally you would think it's cooler in North Mississippi than it is in South Mississippi.
Exactly. Gulfport on Sunday, high 93.
Okay.
Corinth, Sunday, high 99. That's weird. In Jackson, it's going to be cooler by 2 degrees than it is in Corinth. How weird is that?
Yeah, it's almost always cooler the farther south. Now, sometimes we'll get, because of the breeze on the coast, a little bit of a break, but usually the humidity kind of makes up for it, and it just feels hot and humid. I'm looking at starting today, the high temperature forecast for Oxford, 96, 97, 97, 99, 100, 102, 99, 99, 98, and so forth.
And yesterday, I had somebody come in the office. He's like, "You ready for high school football?" And I was staring at the weather app when he said that, and I was like, "Are you?" It was like high school football, and it's really 99 degrees.
Not really. I felt not bad in the sense that, I know they're hydrating. I know that if you're careful, you're probably okay. But when I picked Obi up from football practice yesterday at 5:30, it's like, boy, man, I feel for you guys. Like, I really, that's miserable. It was full pads from 3:30 to 5:30. Could not pick a hotter part of the day. Not a scrap of shade on their practice field, but a lot of water breaks, and they're taken care of. And if you're going to play in it, you better get your body acclimated to it.
Hey, at least you're not finding a cottonmouth in your football helmet. Did you hear about that?
I did. We'll get back to that later on.
I heard that story as I was driving in, and
I was hoping that somehow it had flown below your radar. You will notice in the final segment of your rundown today, there is the Will East special. I labeled it. Perhaps we will talk more about that. Who was born today? I'm assuming this is Cecil and not Cecil, but either Cecil or Cecil DeMille.
Cecil B. DeMille.
Cecil B. Film director and producer. Kind of a pioneer in the Hollywood ranks, known for his epic productions such as The Ten Commandments. Not once, but twice.
I didn't know that.
The 1923. I'm sorry, what?
I didn't know there was 2 of them.
Well, just one with words and one without. So, how would you do the Ten Commandments with no words?
Well, no sound.
Yeah.
You could show the commandments. Or you could do like they did on History of the World Part 1. He actually had 15 commandments and dropped one on the way down, and so it just became the 10 Commandments.
Jeez. So a 1923 version and a 1956 version also did The Greatest Show on Earth. The original, not the Bradley Cooper one. I was not familiar with Erwin Schrödinger, and I still don't understand. I spent a bit of time reading about this cat last night. no pun intended, for just a moment from now. The Austrian physicist who won a Nobel Prize in 1933 and developed the foundational equation of quantum mechanics, Schrödinger's equation, and he's widely known for the thought experiment Schrödinger's cat. It describes a cat in a sealed box that is considered to be both dead and alive at the same time until the box is opened. A paradox that illustrates the strange concept of quantum superposition, showing how tiny particles can exist in multiple states until observed.
Richard, it's 6:16. It's already 78 degrees outside. I can't be dealing with no atoms or whatever it is, particles. It's too early in the morning.
Like, I read about Schrödinger's equation. I couldn't make it make sense. I'm like, he did what? He put a cat in a box and there was a Geiger counter and shot particles in there to see if it would kill the cat, but the cat was alive. And
well, they didn't have Netflix back then, so I mean,
yeah, but apparently they had acid. We're back with you after this. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Brains in a pretzel this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you there.
Okay, up and at 'em.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
I bet you never heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away? Settling down, would you marry me? If I ask you twice and beg you pretty please, she'd have said yes in a New York minute.
Middle of the week, August 12th, 2026. This is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Alongside Will East, glad to be with you this morning. George Soros was born on this day in 1930, the Hungarian-American who is an investor, a philanthropist, a large political activist. He founded the Open Society Foundations, one of the most progressive organizations, fundraising, or not fundraising. He's not raising money. He's giving money away to things that he supports. And he is one of the most successful hedge fund managers in history. There's no doubting that financial brilliance. And I'm so incredibly fascinated by the fact that Scott Bessent worked for George Soros. It's kind of where he learned his skill set.
He broke the Bank of England.
He did. He did. George Hamilton, born in 1939, actor known for his roles in films and television, his distinctive tan and appearances in movies such as Love at First Bite.
That's the color of his skin right there.
He was in Godfather 3. You think that was natural?
He's the most tan man there ever was.
George Hamilton. More so than Donald Trump?
Oh, no. George Hamilton's he's in a league of his own.
Yeah. Pull up a picture.
I want to see a recent picture of George Hamilton. Has he still got the tan?
87 years young.
Golly, man.
Less so. But, so you don't think George Hamilton's tan is or was real? You think that's a tanning bed or
it's got to be something.
A process of some sort?
Skin dye. I don't know what it was, but
okay. Mark Knopfler, the British singer, songwriter, guitarist, frontman for Dire Straits. Baby, do the walk of life. Pete Sampras, born in 1971, 14-time Grand Slam champion, had a pretty good rivalry with Andre Agassi. Sampras was the better of the two. Agassi was the more, he was the wild one. You know, you had, it was like Sampras was like the perfect model, exactly what you think of country club tennis player.
Yeah.
And then Agassi was like Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, just the hair and the wild prints and the patterns and the commercial shoots and all the stuff. But in this scenario, Pete Sampras was also the better player. Not by a lot, but the better player.
You know, Andre Agassi was wearing a wig for a lot of his career.
Really?
Part of the reason why he would wear the bandana was it would cover up the
seams?
The seams, I guess.
But
he started balding. You know, he was known for his mullet, basically.
Yeah.
And he said he started balding and he was afraid that it would ruin his career, so he started wearing a wig out there on the court, which, think about that.
Playing the Australian Open in January with 104 degrees there. Just like, I got to keep this thing on. Kind of sweaty. Today in 1851, Isaac Merritt Singer received a patent for his sewing machine design. His improvements, including a practical foot pedal and continuous stitching mechanism, helped make the sewing machine a practical household and industrial tool. Did you grow up with a sewing machine in your house?
My grandmother did a lot of sewing, and I remember the big sewing machine. She had like it was like built into this table, and
it had the big metal foot pedal down at the bottom that would kind of rock back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't think we had, I remember seeing those. I don't think we had one like that. Both my grandmother and my mom sew some. They weren't like master seamstresses, but certainly functional. And, gosh, man.
It's a lost art. I say lost art. It's something that people don't do as much as they used to. I had a button pop off a shirt a couple of months ago, and I have a sewing kit, and my wife was like, what? And she's like, what are you doing? Just chunk it. I said, what? No, I can fix this. And I fixed it.
Could replace a button.
I could replace a button.
Jane had a dress she was wearing that had shoulder straps not too long ago. And she's like, do you think we could get your mom to take these up? I was like, sure. I was like, but do you want to wear it today? She's like, I was going to. I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like, you think? I was like, well, you could do it too. She's like, I know I could, but just kind of crimp it in and take it, tie a knot in one end. Now, it's not a work of art. Now, like, seamstresses, it's incredible. Like, you perfect. This was just functional.
I still can't thread a needle, though. That was the most. I spent 15 minutes trying to get the thread through the needle, the eye of the needle.
Yeah. Spain and the United States in 1898 signed a peace protocol ending the Spanish-American War. Under its terms, Spain agreed to relinquish control of Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Manila in the Philippines, pending a formal peace treaty. That same day, Hawaii was formally annexed by the United States. 1908, big day. The Ford Motor Company completed its first Model T automobile. The car, designed for mass production and affordability, would revolutionize personal transportation and manufacturing methods. The Model T.
You can get one for as little as $6,000 right now.
Can you?
Yep.
Really?
I guess there was it's one of the best-selling cars of all time. And they made it for so many years. I guess there's just a ton of them out there.
Pretty reliable as well.
And you can get it any color you want as long as it's black.
In 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, along with Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain, met aboard a warship off the coast of Newfoundland and issued the Atlantic Charter. a joint declaration of principles for the post-war world that later influenced the founding of the United Nations. Some would argue the most useless organization to ever exist. Major contributor to terrible traffic in New York City. But that's what they did. Let's jump around. Here you go. One more for you. 1981. Had was it yesterday that we talked about Steve Wozniak and the founding of Apple?
Yep.
Well, it was today in 1981 when IBM introduced its first personal computer, the IBM 5150. Happened at a press conference in New York, priced about $1,600. It had 16 kilobits of RAM and helped popularize the personal computing space for businesses and for homes.
What year was it?
1981. Are you adjusting for inflation on the price?
I'm looking for the inflation price.
It's about $5,000, wasn't it?
Let's see. Well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics doesn't work.
Okay. Is it incredibly intriguing to you that when you think about a cutting-edge invention or something that comes to, like, change the world, you always have two entities that are trying to get to the same spot at once? Like, for the last 50 years, you could have done this, and you could have had no competition, Apple or IBM, NASA or Soviet space station. But it's like you've both gotten to the same discovery, the same...
Yeah.
I said Russian space station. I meant Russian space program. I'm not sure the name of their space program. But it was like, it was a race to the moon. Who had the technology that could get to the moon first? The Americans or the Soviets? Who can get to market first with the personal computer? Is it IBM or is it Apple? Like, why? Does somebody leak some of the technology to one side or the other? They both just happen to stumble upon, microprocessing at the same time?
Iron sharpens iron.
Things that fascinate me. All right, we got news headlines. We got your morning sports update. We got a Mississippi lottery update. All coming up for you on this Country Music Wednesday. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi.
I'm going through the big D and don't mean Dallas.
From the Seabird.
Wake up! Wake up! Rise and shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Nice early morning surprise.
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Mornings presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net, rooted in our community. With Will East, I'm Richard Cross. Time for your news headlines. Will, is it Chrysler or Chrysler?
Chrysler.
Okay. Former interim Hinds County Sheriff Marshond Chrysler is out of federal prison early. Federal Bureau of Prisons confirmed that he has been transferred from Beckley, a correctional institution in West Virginia, to a community confinement overseen by the law enforcement agency's Montgomery Residential Reentry Management Office. MRRMO. MRMO would be their acronym, I suppose. Chrysler was initially set to be released in August of next year, after having been sentenced to 2.5 years in February of 2025. He was granted an early release from behind bars and will serve the remainder of his sentence on house arrest. The former sheriff, who also served as a Jackson City councilman and at one point was a candidate for mayor, accepted bribes and aided a convicted felon when operating as a law enforcement official. According to court documents, Chrysler who served as the interim sheriff for Hinds County following the death of Lee Vance, took thousands of dollars from convicted felon Tanari Moore in exchange for information concerning criminal investigations into the person who paid the bribes. Chrysler agreed to protect one of Moore's jailed family members by moving him to another detention facility. These actions are said to have taken place during Chrysler's previous unsuccessful campaign for Hinds County Sheriff back in 2021, when he was defeated by Tyree Jones, who currently holds the office. He also made a run at police chief for City of Jackson and did not win that either. Congrats on the shortened sentence, though. Almost feels like this is a guy that was trying to get into a position of power so he could do not so good things. Well, there was one other thing. He supplied ammunition to a person that he knew was a convicted felon, which is a direct violation of federal law. Story from the AP says it happened out of necessity. Academy Award winner Morgan Freeman was in Clarksdale about 25 years ago when some out-of-towners asked, hey, where can we go hear some good blues music? There were lots of musicians. There were not lots of venues, and so Ground Zero Blues Club was born. Alongside the late Bill Luckett and Howard Stovall, Morgan Freeman launched a juke joint in Clarksdale called Ground Zero Blues Club, and more recently has created the Morgan Freeman Symphonic Blues Experience, a touring ensemble of blues musicians. They tie together the Southern genre with classical symphonic compositions, and on Friday of this week, they will release an album named the same. Morgan is the producer and the narrator on the release. He's not performing. On the album will be acts like Taj Mahal, Keb Mo, Shamika Copeland, Tierney Jackson, and Stax Music Academy Choir, the Shineki Orchestra out of London, and many others. Morgan Freeman said, I like the blues, I like music. I cannot claim to be an aficionado, that's not my place. I'm an enthusiast, but that's a necessity. Like a Twinkie, like a Twinkie. The Symphonic Blues Experience was born out of the idea, hey, we love people coming to Clarksdale to hear the blues. How can we take the blues to the rest of the world? The big challenge was turning the 2-hour show into a 45-minute album across 12 tracks while still honoring the format. Cool stuff for Morgan Freeman. A roughly 4-hour standoff in Rankin County ended with a suspect being taken into custody after he fell through the ceiling of the home that he had barricaded himself inside. Deputies with RCSO, the Rankin County Sheriff's Office, responded at approximately 4:30 on Monday afternoon to the Cedar Ridge and Cedar Stone neighborhoods off Highway 468 near Pearl. There was a burglary call. When deputies arrived, the suspect fled into a different residence and he barricaded himself inside. They called the special response team and other units to respond in the scenario. Standoff ended after dark at almost 8:30 when deputies managed to get inside the home and enter the attic. So not only had he locked himself in a different house, but he had gone to the attic. I guess once they realized they were there, they figured it was safe to come in the front door, so they come in, they head up toward the attic. I'm assuming he's trying to run away from them in the attic, precarious at best, and then crash down through the ceiling into the kitchen. He was handcuffed, arrested, has a $250,000 bond, but it's not the first time that Christian Banks Lane II has gotten in trouble with the law. He's got 15 felony arrests, 3 felony convictions, and 12 misdemeanor arrests on his record prior to this most recent incident. that mean he's not a very good criminal? Nate Bargatze is coming to Mississippi twice. 3 times, actually. He will be at Ole Miss and at Mississippi State. October 3rd, Saturday, October 3rd. That's an Ole Miss football open date. And then Humphrey Coliseum in Starkville on October 15th. And September 29th, he will be at Mississippi Christian University's Bicentennial Gala. On his current tour, Bargatze has sold more than 2 million tickets. He is the highest grossing and most popular comedian out there today. And he's known for shows that are pretty clean. Does not use profanity in his comedy shows. You a Bargatze fan?
You know, I had never really listened to him a whole lot until he did that SNL sketch where he was George Washington. And
Which is brilliant.
I don't watch SNL anymore, but it came up on YouTube or something, and and there's like I guess 2 or 3 of them. It is their best work in a long time, and it is about the funniest thing you can watch.
We will have a new land of freedom where we will measure things in feet and yards. Feet will be 12 inches. A yard will be 3 feet. Is that close to a meter? Close, yes. Actual, no. There are 100 yards in a football field. How many meters? Nobody knows. He's great.
Then you got the African American guys going, and freedom for everybody, right? And then he pauses and he says, so on to weights and measurements.
Yes. We will have cups, quarts, gallons. What is a liter? Nobody knows. How about freedom for all people?
We will spell Jeff 2 ways. What 2 ways, sir? One with J and the other way, which is stupid.
Mississippi's recreational red snapper season is going to reopen for Labor Day weekend. Starts at 12:01 on Friday, September 4th, and will remain open until 11:59 on Monday night, September 7th. You can keep 2 fish per day, minimum size limit 16 inches. If sufficient poundage remains on Mississippi's private recreational annual catch limit, or ACL, the season will continue on weekends until the ACL is projected to be reached. Private recreational anglers may fish as far as 200 nautical miles out from the coast, offshore. State for hire permit vessels may fish in state territorial waters. Those extend about 9 miles south of the barrier islands off the coast of Mississippi. If the quota is reached, the season will close and remain closed. The original red snapper season for Mississippi was May 22nd through July 5th.
Do you eat red snapper?
Love red snapper.
I'm not big on it.
Really?
No.
Do you like fish at all?
Big fish guy. Unless it's salmon, as some people call it. Salmon.
So you like salmon, but not snapper, or grouper, or AJ, or mai, tuna? None of those?
No, not big
What
fish.
is wrong with you?
I don't know.
How do you like your salmon? Fried.
Fried.
We're going to go down to the all-you-can-eat buffet and get us some fried salmon.
Salmon. I want that salmon.
Got your lottery update and your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Coming up next, Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Good morning from the Venable.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go. Now back to Mornings with Richard Cross.
Now that's entertainment.
It's almost like when a lottery jackpot gets big, people get interested. The projected jackpot amount for tonight's Powerball drawing was $975 million. It is now $1 billion. This is your Mississippi Lottery Update, brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery, online at mslottery.com. Tonight's estimated jackpot, $1 billion. The estimated cash value, $433.1 million. If it doesn't roll, this thing starts growing fast. You know, you kind of get the incremental growth, jackpot to jackpot, when there's not a winner, and then when it gets to a certain point, it starts to really bump up in a hurry. So $1 billion up for grabs tonight with Powerball. There was no Mega Millions winner in the most recent drawing, but there was a ticket purchased at Blue Sky in Crystal Springs that matched 4 out of the 5 white balls and the Mega Ball. That was worth $20,000. The next Mega Millions drawing comes your way on Friday at $90 million. Be sure to download the Mississippi Lottery app. It is free and available to you wherever you get apps for your phone. You can scan the barcode on your ticket to see if you are a winner. Can you imagine not really checking the numbers, just scanning that, and then you see like the confetti pop on the app? Like, wait, what? Is this a glitch? Gonna have to double check the numbers here. So, there you go. All tickets available at your local Mississippi Lottery retailers. It's time for your morning sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort, online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, your home for casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment. Pearl River Resort presents the Not Fall Camp Tour with Sports Talk Mississippi. Yesterday they had their second stop. Brian Haydad and Michael Borky were in Starkville at the Landing. And then next week, they will be in Oxford for the third and final stop of the Pearl River Resort Not Fall Camp Tour. The future of NFL football analyst Tony Romo at CBS remains in flux following his arrest last month on suspicion of DUI. That's according to CBS Sports President David Burson. He said it's an evolving situation and we are still assessing. There is no timetable or final decision at this time. Romo got 3 citations from the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office following a July 23rd traffic stop after he was seen passing cars in a Gore area. It's the area that separates interstate traffic from cars entering from an on-ramp. He performed poorly on his field sobriety test and was taken into custody, booked, and released. Sheriff's office said that he had an open container of alcohol in the black Jeep that he was driving, and later was cited for refusing to take a test for intoxication after arrest. He was placed on leave by CBS a week later, had a court appearance that was set for, or has a court appearance that's set for September 21st. Burson from CBS Sports said, we have to consider the impact on our image and our brand. That's very important to us. The focus should be and needs to be on our presentation and this great product and not on any others. Fortunately, we have a deep bench and everybody is stepping up. J.J. Watt will be teamed up with Jim Nantz and Tracy Wolfson to begin the season as the number 1 broadcast team for CBS.
I don't know, Richard.
You think he needs to make a public apology and do some community service and slide back into the booth with lesson learned?
I guess so.
People like J.J. Watt a lot.
Yeah. Do you like Tony Romo?
I'm fine with him. I mean, people loved him initially, and then they're like, I can't stand him the way he's doing this.
Yeah.
And then it's like he's just kind of settled in.
I mean, he is amazing
so
at
good.
predicting what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mississippi State has announced its M Club Sports Hall of Fame and induction ceremony. That's going to happen on September 25th. How about this class? Mario Austin from men's basketball, Jonathan Banks from football, Dr. Daniel Boyd from football, Fletcher Cox from football, Kathy Kingston from women's golf, Ted Milton from baseball, Kunshinji Sorrell Howard from women's basketball, and Amy York Strickland from volleyball. Pretty accomplished group there for Mississippi State. Quickly, your Major League Baseball standings with about 40 games remaining in the regular season. Rays lead the American League East by 6 over the Yankees. White Sox with a 2.5-game lead over the Tigers in the AL Central. Out west, the Astros half a game in front of the Rangers. In the National League, the Braves with an 8.5-game lead over the Phillies. The Brewers lead the Cubs by 4 games in the NL Central, and the Dodgers with an 8.5-game lead over the Diamondbacks out west. That's your sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
It's time to switch on.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Big orange ball sinking in the water, toes in the sand, couldn't get much hotter. Little umbrella shaped margaritas, coconut oil tannin senoritas. Oh, now I know how Jimmy Buffett feels.
Welcome to the 7 o'clock hour. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for joining the conversation. C-Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395. The one plan from C-Spire is here. Fiber home internet and wireless, only $99 a month for new and current C-Spire customers. One plan, one price, one experience, zero compromise. Maybe the best part, it's the 5-year price lock guarantee. You will pay $99 a month for 5 years. No surprises. That's a guarantee. So don't wait. Get the one plan today. Visit your local C-Spire store or online at cspire.com/one-plan C-Spire, customer inspired. Mornings is brought to you by Community Bank. Ever notice how some places still know your name? At Community Bank, that's how banking works. We're a bank that knows community because we live here. When you walk in, you're more than an account number. No matter what your banking needs are, here you will talk to real people who care about your goals. Community Bank, a local bank built on relationships. Stop by your neighborhood location or learn more at communitybank.net, rooted in our community. We got a message on the C-Spire text line. Somebody said, hey guys, remember the auction that you were talking about a couple of weeks ago, the Y&L auction? Heard about it on your show. Went. I bought a radio. And now I'm listening to Mornings with Richard Cross on that radio. Will, this is a tabletop rectangle. I'm going to say it's in the neighborhood of 10 inches tall. It's got the antenna that extends, and I saw that and I thought, man, not because we're playing on it, I bet that's a rich sound. If you get one of those kind of old, heavy radios that goes on a tabletop, they just sound a little bit different than something that you might buy today.
They don't make them like they used to, and I wonder if that's like new old stock, like that thing. I'm curious as to whether it's ever been opened. You know what I mean?
It is a, what's the brand on that? Masterwork?
Masterwork.
Masterwork. Masterwork. I don't know that I'm familiar with that brand. It's got like a dial, but not like the It's like a vertical turning dial as opposed to one that you turn clockwise or counterclockwise. Kind of roll it with your thumb. That's very cool. Very cool. Nice purchase. And thanks for listening. You have heard a lot about data centers over the last few years. A lot. And people have used dollars to talk about the benefits of data centers if you prefer. And then people have also talked about the drawbacks and the things that are so incredibly concerning about them. Lots of those drawbacks have been debunked. Maybe you buy the debunking of those. Maybe you think that data centers are 2025, 26, 27's .com bubble. But the money piece of this is real. There was a story in the Northside Sun that laid out future revenues for Madison County. And these numbers are staggering. You've got multiple locations in Madison County, right? You've got the Canton location and you've got the Ridgeland location. Madison County is planning to aggressively pay off a $215 million loan that they took out with the state to pay for infrastructure improvements related to construction around the data centers. First payment is scheduled for next year, just a little over $14 million. They're planning to pay the loan off by 2032, so a really aggressive repayment timeline. Part of the local and state level tax incentives that give them some abatements and not having to pay taxes for an extended period of time does not mean that they are off the hook in terms of contributions to municipalities. Most of the money that would have gone to state income taxes or state corporate taxes are instead going to schools. How about these numbers? In the first 10 years after repaying the loan to the state of Mississippi, Madison County, the city of Ridgeland, Holmes Community College, Canton Schools, and Madison County Schools are expected to see an average revenue increase of nearly $88.6 million in the first 10 years and an average increase of over $190 million in years 11 through 20. There is also an expectation that the county will receive a lot of money that will go toward new roads, new bridges, parks, new schools, administrative buildings, athletics facilities, and teacher pay raises. Here you go. For the first 10 years that the AWS data centers are at the mega site, the Canton Public School District will receive almost $24 million. $238 million in total over the first 10 years. In the second 10 years, nearly $54 million a year, over $500 million in years 11 through 20. For Ridgeland, it's $24 million for the first 10 years and then almost $48 million for the succeeding 10 years. Holmes Community College will get almost $2 million annually in the first 10 years, about $18 to $20 million, and then $40 million in the following 10 years. The city of Ridgeland, for the first 10 years, will get about $8.8 million. And then in the second 10 years, about $17.5 million. Madison County, $30 million a year for the first 10 years of the deal, totaling $300 million. $67.5 million for the second 10 years. That's $675 million. Thomas says, but my water usage, comrade. We get another message, and I'm just editing here. The response is crap. As in, I'm shocked. I spoke with someone not too terribly long ago that is affiliated with a potential data center project in the Delta. And the numbers were similar, if not higher, for both the city, the county, and then separately for the schools. Now, I'm not going to tell you the specific community. Kind of said that I wouldn't do so. But there is pushback locally and not so locally. There is a lawsuit that has been filed against the potential construction of this facility by the NAACP. Not entirely sure the grounds, but to say that there would be enough money to absolutely transform the finances of a city, a county, and multiple school districts would be underselling it to the nth degree. Are there concerns? Yes, of course there are concerns. And you're not a nut job. You're not a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist if you say, hey, I got some concerns about this. The difference, or the point is, you can be concerned, but also when you learn information to ally those concerns, maybe change the opinion that you have on it. Water usage has been a big conversation about this. Truth of the matter is, data centers use less water than a golf course uses. We don't have a moratorium on the building of golf courses. They use considerably less water than is used for farming and irrigation of farms. We're not shutting down farms over water usage. And it seems as if they have protected consumers in barring rate increases and making these data centers pay for their energy up front. We're back after this.
Good morning from the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
People want to hear the truth, man. That's what we're going to do.
Super Talk Mississippi.
This morning, Mornings with Richard Cross, the 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you are not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services, plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966, or go to mwgemployerservices.com. Let's continue the data center conversation just for a second, because some of your message comes in, and again, as I said, having concerns about data centers is not only okay, it's wise. It's wise. Because believing that the money tree in your backyard is always going to last, it will never stop producing, is probably a bad plan. A couple of people pop up here. It says, CC in Senatobia, data centers will continue to be built no matter what. They will be a big part of the beast system that is coming. I think you're probably right about that. Thomas says, my concern is the bubble popping with all of the circular financing that is AI. That's reasonable. But I think there are a couple of things that you have to accept as fact. if you're going to go down this road of, hey, this is a bubble that's going to pop. This is not .com stock market speculation. Like the .com bubble burst, but the internet didn't go away. Online companies didn't go away. If you had said what was kind of our bubble burst year for .com? Well, was it 2000, mid-2000s?
Yeah, 99, 2000.
Okay. So let's say late 90s, early 2000s. That's when you had all kinds of money flowing to all of these companies that were cutting edge .com. We'll just call them that.
Pets.com.
Sure. And that kind of went away. If in 2002 you had your portfolio drilled by the .com bubble burst and had lost lots, you might have had trouble looking to 2026's market, the companies that make up the biggest players in terms of Fortune 100. And I'm talking, Amazon and Tesla and Google, Meta, all of these companies that are absolutely blue chip stocks. You might have had trouble seeing down the road that, hey, these are going to come back. And so it's possible that there is some sort of an AI construction bust. But if you think the idea of artificial intelligence is going away, you're being incredibly nearsighted. And the fact is, the technology will change. But if AI, artificial intelligence, is going to continue to grow and to continue to power the world, then data centers are going to have to exist. They may look a little different, they may perform a little bit different, but the idea that they're going to go away forever is narrow-minded and short-sighted. Now, I thought this was an interesting example. Somebody said, weren't the casinos going to provide a bunch of money for schools? They were. And they did. And to some degree, they still do. But I said to that particular message on the C Spire text line, there wasn't a whole lot of rainy day fund planning. For example, in Tunica County. It felt like the cash machine was just going to spit out $100 bills forever. And I'm not trying to pick on Tunica County, but there is a cautionary tale there. So let's go back to the numbers that we had just a second ago, and let's use Canton as an example. For the first 10 years of the AWS data centers at the mega site in Canton, $23.8 million or $238 million to the Canton Public School District. And then for the second 10 years, $537 million spread out at $53.7 million a year. So let's do a little math. I know you were told there would be no math. $755 million. Now, it is not a lump sum. It is spread out over time, so that makes these numbers not entirely accurate. But I'm just trying to paint a picture for you. This is new money, right? This is the Canton Public School District is not relying on these dollars today. So if you found yourself in a spot where you were getting by, but sure would love to have a windfall, you're getting by without the windfall, even if it's tight, things are going to be incredibly comfortable or more comfortable for you in the future because of the windfall that is on its way. What if, though, instead of when that windfall comes to you over an extended period of time, almost like an annuity, but an annuity that gets larger over time, what if you didn't spend all of the money as soon as you got it? What if you said, I'm going to save 20% of the dollars that come in, and I'm going to invest that money so that even if I get frivolous, smart, frivolous, or whatever, I don't spend all of it. and I've got money going forward. So what if, using Canton as an example, and recognizing that this is incremental, it's not all at once, but I am using the all at once as an example. What if Canton saved 20% of that $755 million? So they saved $155 million, give or take, over the course of that 20-year period. Now you have the possibility, and when I say save, I'm not talking about just putting it into the savings account. I'm talking about investing it in conservative avenues that will give you income over the long period, much the way that David McRae has to invest the state's money. Put very stringent guidelines on how the money can be invested, where it can be invested, and what you can take from that. There's an example of this that's local for me. I'll give it to you. The city of Oxford owned the old Baptist Hospital building. Or there was a long-term lease. And Baptist wanted to build a new hospital. And so they had to kind of buy their way out of that. The ultimate end game was about a $30 million payment to the city of Oxford. Leaders at the time, I think Pat Patterson at the time was the mayor, in conjunction with the Board of Aldermen said, we're not going to spend this money. Were there things that Oxford could have spent the $30 million on? Absolutely. But they said, we're not going to spend this money. This is going to become a nest egg for Oxford going forward. And so there is an out-of-state investment company that conservatively invested that money, and it started to grow. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but the city of Oxford is allowed to receive some money from that, and in some cases they can even borrow against that money over a long period of time. And that $30 million from, 20 years ago is now over $60 million. And Oxford has taken about $1 million or $2 million or $3 million, given the project in the year, out of that money to use for projects along the way without affecting the nest egg. And the nest egg has continued to grow. And so if you do that with the Canton, again, using Canton as an example, and you pop $155 million, and remember, that's only 20% of what you're getting. You have poured $500 million into teacher salaries and new facilities and projects that need it along the way. You're only saving a portion of this, but that 20%, with the beauty of compound interest and conservative investments, over the course of 30 years, which really kind of takes us out to 40 or 50 years because the money comes in incrementally, you now have a $500 million nest egg for the Canton Public School District that is going to throw money off in terms of dividends year after year after year, and you've put yourself in an incredibly stable position. Got to have leadership, though, that is willing to take that kind of long-term view and put rules in to protect the money over an extended period of time. We got more coming up with you. Glenn and Tizzo will join us coming up next. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Seabird Paint.
Rise and shine with information and insight.
Check it out.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi.
There's an Elvis movie on the marquee sign. We've all seen at least 3 times. Everybody's broke, Bobby's got a buck.
601-879-4395. We'll get to more of those coming up. And right now I'm happy to welcome in friend of the program, Professor of Political Science, Mississippi Christian University, formerly Mississippi College. At some point, we'll stop saying formerly, and it'll just be Mississippi Christian. Glenn and Tizzo, good morning.
Good morning, Richard.
Good to be with you. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it has. Great to be back.
Hope you had a good summer.
Yeah, I had some family business I had to take care of in New York, so I spent a lot of time up there. But it's really nice to be back here in Mississippi.
And the new semester off and rolling just in the last couple of days.
Yeah, we have meetings this week, and classes start on Monday.
Outstanding. You excited? There's a buzz that happens on a college campus with the start of a new semester. Do you feel that as a professor?
Oh yeah, no. Every semester, the start of every semester is like New Year's Eve all over again. You know, you get a fresh start, and you're really looking forward, especially at this time of year when you're coming back after the summer and you see new faces coming in, and you see some of your more successful older faces there. And also, we just had a really good year last year, and a lot of our students are now in law school. I've got one that just got into Mississippi State for grad school. A number of them are getting good jobs in industry or in government. So no, it's really great, and it keeps you young. It really does. You draw the energy off the kids.
And we're all looking for the fountain of youth. So hey, maybe you found it. Maybe you have found it. Yesterday we had primaries. South Carolina, a special election there. Vermont, Alabama had a special election. Connecticut, Minnesota, Wisconsin. And there may have been more focus on the Wisconsin Democrat primary for governor than anywhere else because it was, I guess, our most recent litmus test about the power of the DSA, of people who are avowed socialists.
Right.
Francesca Hong got a lot of coverage leading up to this primary. Ultimately, and I don't know if you stayed up until 2:30 Eastern time to see the race called. David Crowley, though, the Democrat candidate, won by just 0.4 of a point.
Yeah, I saw that.
About 750,000 votes cast statewide in that Democrat primary for governor, and he edged out Francesca Hong. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, it's a little bit of it's hard to read this. It's nice to see that somebody that is just left of center, somebody that is not too far off the mainstream, won. And of course, Wisconsin is a first past the post state. I had to look that up actually last night to make sure because I was worried that, oh my gosh, if nobody gets 50% or more, we can have a runoff, and then she gets more exposure, and then maybe people consolidate behind her. But I think that the fact that she got 38.4% really should again alarm people. That these kinds of extreme views evidently have some sort of a constituency out there.
Yeah.
And that it'll be interesting to see if this is maybe an opportunity to stop the movement a little bit or at least slow it down, or does it just mean that they're going to try harder? I think that they may end up learning the lesson that they need to scrub their social media more effectively so that a lot of the nutty things that they've said in the past don't become public.
Some of the larger population centers were kind of split. Milwaukee County, David Crowley won there with 43%, but just 1.5 points ahead of Hong. In Dane County, which is where Madison, Wisconsin is, University of Wisconsin, Hong won with 44% compared to 36.5% for Crowley there. Green Bay is in Brown County. Hong won there, 41-36. Eau Claire is, I guess, one of the larger counties there, but you get into some pretty rural areas outside of Madison, Milwaukee, and Green Bay in that particular state. Hong won, though, in Eau Claire County as well. It seems that the voting group that is leaning toward socialist candidates is congregated in metro urban areas, and interestingly, it seems to skew toward a lot of college-educated people.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. You had mentioned when you mentioned Green Bay, you mentioned Madison, you mentioned Eau Claire. Those are all college towns, and so you're absolutely right about that. Keep in mind it's the middle of summer. A lot of people are focused on other things, having fun with their family and stuff like that, going on vacation or whatever. I think that the primaries tend to attract loyalists who are very, very tuned into what's going on politically. I think that the average person, you've got in each party a hardcore of loyalists on the Republicans on the right, the Democrats on the socialist left, and the elections are won and lost in the middle. In the general election, I don't think as many people are paying attention or as politically active at this time of year. Although you are absolutely right. I mean, this got an amazing amount of coverage. Matter of fact, you almost got to wonder if because of all the media coverage, did that help Pong more than it should have?
Altogether possible. And the folks at MS Now, which used to be MSNBC, had an interesting conversation about it after it was all said and done last night and saying, hey, did we cover this in the right way? It was a rare moment of self-reflection for the MS Now crew. Interesting to see that play out. South Carolina, fascinating. This is a special election for the Senate seat that was left vacant after the death of Lindsey Graham. They're going to have a runoff in South Carolina. Darlene Graham, the sister of Lindsey Graham, who was appointed acting or interim senator facing a special election, she got 33% of the vote. Ralph Norman got 25% of the vote. Those two are headed for a runoff. Her platform seems to be, I'm Lindsey's brother, but I'm a normal person. Can that play in a general election in November? Or first of all, does it play in a runoff?
It may out of a sense of sentimentality. She can sell that she is going to be bringing some continuity to the state following her brother's programs. Perhaps. It's yet to be seen if she's quite the fighter. Got the fire in her belly in the way that her brother did. Can you picture Darlene having that moment when, Lindsey defended Kavanaugh, for example? So I don't know. It may be that a more experienced politician, could beat her. By the way, I got a question about that, Richard. Maybe you know the answer because I don't know. When I was watching the lead up to the election, I saw the name Danny Ford. Was that the former Clemson coach who was running? Do you know?
Is that Danny Ford still with us? Hold on.
Okay.
We'll find out quickly.
Okay, I just thought that name sort of jumped out at me. I'm a big college football fan.
It's his son.
Okay.
There you go. Danny Ford is still with us. He's 78 years old, but apparently is not running for Senate in South Carolina.
Just content to have the natty from 81.
That's good enough. That is good enough. Trump endorsed the MyPillow guy in Minnesota in the Republican primary against the advice of seemingly everyone in his circle. But Lindell's been a Trump supporter. He got that endorsement. Lindell lost, and it wasn't particularly close. Does this say anything about the power of a Trump endorsement, pro or con? Or does it just say that Trump picked a bad candidate here?
I think in this case, it's Trump picking a bad candidate. I don't think Lindell, was somebody that a lot of people were looking, in that kind of a leadership role. He's had a series of problems in the past, and I'm sure those got a lot of publicity, and that may have hurt him. But at the same time, there's no denying that the president's polling numbers are going down. I think people in the Republican Party are getting a little frustrated about some issues. For example, the on-again, off-again war in the Middle East, and maybe that has a little bit of an impact. But I think in this case specifically, it was Lindell himself.
Yeah. Glenn Antizzo is my guest, professor of political science at Mississippi College. We will we'll talk more, touch on the conflict in the Middle East when we come back, and what effect that might have on midterm elections, which are getting close. All these primaries kind of spread out over the course of a few months, but everybody going to vote in November with the House and the Senate hanging in the balance. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. We're back with you right after this. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning, August 12th.
I'll let the moon shoot out the light. It's a small town Saturday night. It's a small town Saturday night. It's a small town Saturday night.
Good morning from the Venable.
Hey, how's it going, man?
The news you need.
Every 10, 15 minutes, there's something.
The talk you love.
They really talk about the things that matter. I'm into all that stuff.
Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk Mississippi.
Well, you get down the fiddle and you get down the bow. Kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light. Louisiana Saturday night. Waiting in the front of your
Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Also in your community, rooted in our community. Glenn Antizzo is my guest, political professor, political science professor at Mississippi Christian University. And Glenn, I certainly appreciate your time this morning. As we look at the, as you described it, on-again, off-again war with Iran in the Middle East, what is the practical effect on midterm elections?
I think this really presents a danger to the Republican Party, and I think that is why the president is doing what he's doing. By the way, I will say I don't think that what he's doing is wise. I think that he could more easily solve his problem by hitting the Iranians harder and taking steps to bring the war to a successful conclusion, rather than repeatedly calling truces and saying that we're negotiating, we're really close to an agreement, and there's no agreement. Or we're really close to an agreement, we get an agreement, and then the agreement ends up being something that gets broken almost immediately. Or, we're negotiating, and we get a bad deal, a deal that is worse. Right now, the president is in some deep trouble politically because before the conflict, there was free passage through the Strait of Hormuz. And now, if we end this war with some sort of an agreement where there are tolls charged by Iran and Oman, I think that is going to be a major problem, not just with opposition from the other side, the Democrats. But I think there are going to be a lot of very disappointed sort of Reagan Republicans that are going to be upset that, what did we do all this for? At the very least, you would hope that you would get status quo ante, and now you're getting status quo worse, possibly, depending on how the war comes out.
You said you spent some time in New York this summer.
Yes.
If you woke up tomorrow morning and had to go to New York and got in your car and started driving,
yes,
you could get there eventually, but you can do it much more efficiently if you've got a map. Whether we're going old school Rand McNally, where you're flipping the pages of the atlas, or you just open the Waze app on your phone and type in Schenectady, New York, and just start driving, and you follow the route.
Right.
When you go into a war, you kind of need a destination in mind and a bit of a roadmap to get there. And if you find out that you got to take some detours, you have to maintain your end point, right?
Yes.
Or there's got to be an exit strategy of sort. Was there an exit strategy? Was there an end point?
You make a great point on that, Richard. What you need to do is you need to establish clear goals. Basically, the Clausewitz's dictum that war is diplomacy by other means. What you need to do is you need to have attainable goals. Goals that you know that once you've achieved them, then you can end the conflict. We had goals all over the map on this. And I don't think that this was really well thought out. I think what may have happened was that the president and Netanyahu may have gotten together and thought that with a massive, 2 or 3 week long shock and awe campaign that the Iranians would fold. And I think that there was really some feeling that they were getting towards that with wiping out the leadership so early in the war. And I don't think anybody really calculated, okay, well, how were we going to achieve all of these things so that we know that we can end the war? And I don't think also that anybody ever for a moment thought that if you take out the leadership, as vile as they were, that the people who were coming in after them could be even worse. You've got the IRGC that are absolutely the worst elements in that government who are now largely in power. And I think that, Rubio is in good faith negotiating with, Iranian representatives, but those people do not speak for the people who are actually holding the reins of power, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's almost like the destination was a fictional place that didn't actually exist.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, he was asking a lot of stuff. Regime change, which was probably the longest shot of them all. Stopping the nuclear program.
Which to me was the most important piece of
Agreed.
This. They need not to have a nuclear weapon.
Agreed.
In Iran.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are an existential threat to their neighbors and eventually, at the end of the day, if they get long-range ballistic missiles, to the world.
Glenn, our time is always too short. I appreciate you joining me this morning.
Thank you,
and wish you a wonderful semester. Look forward to talking soon.
Thank you very much. Same here.
More coming up with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. We're back right after this.
Down the bowl, kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light. Louisiana Saturday night.
Conversations and clarity. What a great way to start your Mississippi day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Girl, you taught me how to hurt real bad and cry myself to sleep. Showed me how this town shattered dreams. Another lesson about a naive fool who came to Babylon. Found out that the pie don't taste so sweet.
Good morning once again. Hope your morning is off to a great start. Today is August 12th, 2026, and you've got it tuned to Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, Supertalk TV, on the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and, of course, on your SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations. When it comes to money, trust isn't automatic. It's earned. That's why Community Bank does things the old-fashioned way. When you come to us, we take the time to listen to you and discuss any questions that you may have. Whether you're saving, spending, or planning ahead, you will find bankers who know the community because they are part of it. Community Bank, banking designed with you in mind. Visit us in person or online at communitybank.net. I want to go back to the C Spire text line. Before our conversation with Glenn and Tizzo, we were talking revenue from data centers, whether that is revenue that can be trusted, whether or not you can count on that, whether this is a bubble that is going to burst, what the environmental effects are. All of the conversations that are rolled into data centers are relevant conversations. I thought Ryan in Oxford had a good point. He sent us this message. He said, I think the important question is, why do we need data centers? What's the purpose? And is that purpose going away? Because as far as I can see, more and more people are relying on digital technology that require data centers. And that doesn't seem to be reducing it, or that doesn't seem to be reducing at all. I guess the most basic example would be, how do you use your phone? Now, phone usage is far from the greatest need of a data center. But think about how, let's go. Will, how old were you, or what year was it when you got your first cell phone?
It was probably 19.
Okay. So that was late 90s, early 2000s?
Whoa.
I don't know. What year was it when you got your first cell phone? Okay. So I was a freshman at Ole Miss in the fall of 1999. And I got my first cell phone either in the spring of 2000 or the fall of 2000. Before that, it was, hey, can I use your phone if you had a cell phone, or let me find a landline and give you a call. Early 2000s, you were beginning to get unlimited text message plans. Prior to that, you paid by the text message. And if you weren't careful, you could create an exorbitant phone bill. And then we got to completely unlimited text messages. You got to plans where it was like unlimited talk and text. I mean, that was an ad campaign from C Spire when they were trying to attract customers. Unlimited talk and text. No long distance fees. And then we got into the early stages of video on our phones, and you started looking at data plans. So it wasn't just talk and text anymore. It was, how many megs of data were allowed in a month. And then it was unlimited data. And then there was, can I tether my phone to my laptop so that I have a hotspot and I can get internet access through my phone on my computer? But that ate up more data. And there were some firewalls that were in place from that. And now every phone that exists has a personal hotspot on it. And you may have some amount of data, or you may have unlimited data on your phone. The point is, if you watch videos, you send video text messages, you stream Paramount Plus or Peacock, or you watch YouTube TV on your phone, you are using a massive amount of data. So to Ryan in Oxford's question, is that behavior going to change? Are you going to watch less on your phone? Are you going to rely less on your phone, your personal wireless device, moving forward than you do today? It would have been impossible to imagine in 2002 how heavily you would rely on your phone in 2026. And that was a quarter of a century. It was 24 years ago. I could not have imagined, I don't think, that I could be sitting in a football stadium watching a game unfold in front of me while streaming another game that I was interested in and watching it on my phone. People do that all the time. And so as our phone usage, and again, small part of the data center conversation, increases, there is a need for more bandwidth. You have to have more power to compute, or as Elon Musk calls it, he just uses compute as a noun and as a verb and as an adjective, everything in between. It's not just storing data in these big buildings, it's processing and having the speed and the bandwidth to be able to do those things and storing data. And giving these data-intensive applications and platforms the power they need to be able to operate. I'm not trying to speak in elementary terms. Gerard is far more educated on data centers. Many of you probably are as well. But it's a relevant question that Ryan asked. Are we going to need less power, compute power, in the future than we do today? And if the answer to that question is no, not only are we going to need what we have today, but our needs and our usage is going to grow, then it makes data centers feel like a pretty safe bet. Well, Richard, what about the financing of these data centers? People have described it as circular financing, where you've got AI companies that are being funded by technology companies, which is technology that, whatever, you get the idea. And that it's almost like this incestuous relationship with regard to the money. Suppose that's possible, but if the need for the data centers is not going away, whether it's the initial iteration or round two, there's going to be need there. I mean, the idea that we are going to have millions and millions of square feet of empty buildings because Amazon, parent company of AWS, went belly up, or Tesla went belly up and no longer exists, kind of seems pretty unlikely. I was having a conversation via text with one of our elected officials earlier, and he said, what gives? You can lead a horse to water. These data centers and the revenue for local schools, cities, and counties from them changes everything for a community, or at least has the potential to change everything for a community. And I responded, yeah, caution is reasonable, but never taking a calculated risk and viewing said calculated risk as the devil, as Mama would say, is just irresponsible for leadership. When you get paralyzed by fear and then you have some people in positions of power who choose to amplify that fear, you get stuck. You're stuck where you are and you watch the rest of the world drift on by. Would you rather be New York with its ban or moratorium on data center construction, or would you rather be capitalizing on these projects right now? I'd rather be capitalizing. That's me. You're certainly entitled to your own opinion. C-Spire text line. We'll get to some of your messages and questions on the other side of this break. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
It's the only thing that keeps me hanging on.
From the Bendable Glass Traffic.
You're waking up to what matters. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Don't rock the jukebox. I wanna hear some Jones. 'Cause my heart ain't ready for the Rolling Stones. I don't feel like rocking since my baby's gone. So don't rock the jukebox.
I feel like I need to give some credit to James in Oxford. He has had two really strong messages this morning. Interestingly, he's using the Google machine for a couple of his messages, which is taking up data. First, rewinding to the very beginning of the show. Will, this is important. George Hamilton's famous deep bronze tan is real and built from a lifetime of natural sun exposure, though he has occasionally used self-tanning products following, who could have guessed this, skin cancer treatments. He famously started tanning at the age of 14 after moving to Florida, and veteran actor Robert Mitchum later advised him to keep this look for his film career. And he has.
And it worked.
And it worked. And then this from James in Oxford. Core uses of data centers. Cloud computing. That's hosting infrastructure and platforms so individuals and companies can operate without local hardware limits. You can store lots and lots of files in the cloud, whether that's iCloud or the Google Cloud or the personal cloud or whatever cloud. But when it's just floating around out there in the ether, it's not actually floating around in the ether. It's housed in a data center. AI. Housing dense clusters of specialized graphics processors to train, test, operate machine learning models and generative AI tools. And look, the AI companies that we think of right now, or the AI tools that we think of right now, whether it's Grok or Claude or Gemini or whatever, they're just the tip of the iceberg. I got a buddy that just went to work, just took a new job as VP of sales in North America for an AI assistant company that supposedly is a better research tool and is online in multiple other countries already. The generation of these products is continuing. And then there's websites and e-commerce. Do you use PayPal? Do you use Venmo? Do you use Zelle? Do you use Cash App? All of those operate in the cloud. And then media and entertainment, streaming. More of us are streaming our content at home. And that doesn't just mean Netflix. I mean, that could be if you've switched to YouTube TV or Hulu or whatever else, you're using online bandwidth for that. Data centers have got to have it. Emails, text, phone data, video calls, and then business and government operations. I mean, 911 dispatch networks are now housed through data centers. There's a lot of need for them. Richard, thanks for explaining data centers. I don't know that I have, and I don't know if I have in a way that is understandable. And it's one of those things where a lot of people are, you've made up your mind. You're either for it or against it. And there's no in between. Just encourage you to have an open mind about them. Donald says this, Richard, I subscribe to the theory that China is actively trying to divide the United States on the data centers because we're way ahead of them. Data centers and AI aren't going away, and it's necessary to stay ahead of our adversaries. I think there's some wisdom in that, but I think there's another level to it also. Yes, the U.S. is ahead of China in that. Yes, China is trying to develop technology that is less expensive. But the other piece of this is China, whether you're talking about China, the state-run entity, or private actors, will do the same thing that they've done with all kinds of products. They'll rip off the technology. Like, there is zero respect for intellectual property among the Chinese. You come up with a good handbag, they'll rip it off. You come up with a technology platform, they'll rip it off and try to find a way to do it cheaper. And it's easier to do it cheaper because the labor laws are suspect at best in China. So it's, yes, they are trying to catch up. Yes, they are trying to divide. I would point you to edge theory and narrative intelligence, where we have talked with Joe Stradinger and his team in the past about how China and Russia and other countries and other people in the United States are using narratives to divide people. They don't really care about the outcome one way or the other. They just want to create discord among Americans, which creates discord in elections and causes people to pick sides, and everybody gets mad at each other, And you see the rise of socialism, among other things. Is there a data center in Lafayette County? No, there's not. And maybe the biggest reason for that is land availability and topography in Lafayette County are not nearly as readily available as they are in other parts of the state. You don't have nearly as much farmland, nearly as much open, undeveloped space in Lafayette County as you do in Panola County or Yellowbusha County or in rural parts of Madison and Rankin counties and in other areas. Lafayette County is going with a different economic development strategy than what some of the other parts of the state are doing, good, bad, or otherwise. But you know what? Their economic strategy, if they're able to attract the companies, if Lafayette County is able to attract the companies that it is targeting for further economic development, those companies will rely on the data centers that are popping up in other parts of the state. C-Spire text line 601-879-4395. Somebody says, I remember the first time I called my father from Vaught Hemingway Stadium. It blew his mind. Yeah. Mo's got his first mobile phone in 1995 when he retired from the Air Force, a bag phone in his truck. Appreciate all the interaction from you this morning. Dorothy Young is going to join us coming up in a little while. She is from the Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services, and Ed Turner, will be with us as well. He is chairman of the Committee of Blind Vendors. Ed has an incredible story, and look forward to sharing with that with you just in a bit. I got one for you here, Will. Nintendo. You have a Nintendo, like the original NES growing up?
Yep. Used to have one with the trackpad and the zap gun.
Yeah. Oh, you had like the stand-on so that you could do like Nintendo Olympics?
Yeah. Yeah. But
never had one of those.
We never ran with it. We would hit it with our hands.
Cheat the system.
Cheat the system.
Well, there is a video game collector that has uncovered a gold mine. A pop culture store owner in Wisconsin mentioned to a guy by the name of Jason Ganos, a well-known Nintendo game collector, that he had a box of Super Mario cartridges that had been sitting in storage for years. It was an ultra-rare collection of 97 absolute pristine copies of Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
That was the game that came with your NES. You got the two controllers, the gun, and that game. And then usually you added games to your collection. You might go with Donkey Kong or Dirt Bike Racer or Zelda or Contra, all of those different, you had a million different options. But Super Mario and Duck Hunt was the original. These cartridges, many of them are going up for sale in an online auction that's going to start on Friday. And there is a rating system for old school Nintendo games. They're graded on a scale of 0 to 10, and 10 is basically a unicorn. 5 of these 97 original cartridges have been graded 10s. And there is a subset of people out there that are old school video game collectors that will pay tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for these video games that they're advised not to even play with. Like, you just got to keep them in pristine condition. I guess it's like buying a Van Gogh. At least that you can hang on your wall.
Might be time to go raid the attic and go through your old games.
What have I got that might be worth $11? Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. More with you coming up.
From the Seabird Pen.
They ask where you heard it. You tell them.
I know you heard it right here.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
You may think that I'm talking foolish. You've heard that I'm wild and I'm free.
Glad to be with you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. A lot of activity this morning on the C Spire text line, and we appreciate that very much. Got a couple of guests in studio and excited to share this conversation with you. Dorothy Young is the director of the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation for the Blind at the Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services. And Ed Turner, is chairman for the Committee of Blind Vendors with MDRS, and also is a licensed vendor at Keesler Air Force Base. Dorothy, Ed, good morning to both of you. Appreciate you coming in studio, and great to visit with you.
Good morning, Richard.
Dorothy, let's start with you. 90 years ago, the Randolph-Shepard Act was passed, and at least as I understand it, the goal behind that was to empower blind vendors in the state of Mississippi. We are celebrating that anniversary today, and we get to amplify and celebrate Eddie's story as well as we do that. Tell me a little bit more about the Randolph-Shepard Act.
Yes, first and foremost, thank you for allowing our agency, the Mississippi Department of Rehab Services, to be here today to talk about the Randolph-Shepard program and celebrating 90 years of the Randolph-Shepard Act. Our executive director is Mr. Billy Taylor, and one of the things that he wanted us to make sure that we say this morning is this 90 years is celebrated all across the country.
Okay.
The Randolph-Shepard program started in 1936. In Mississippi, it started here in 1937 when they signed the bill in our great capital here and authorized $1,000 to start that program at our agency at the Mississippi Department of Rehab Services. And basically what that does is it gives individuals who are blind the priority to work in vending and cafeteria in state and federal buildings.
Okay.
And so we started here in Mississippi. We had our first location at the Vicksburg Post Office. And from there, that vendor worked that location for over 30-some years. And that was Mr. Dix. And then from there, we opened up several other locations. And right now, we have over 232 locations in our great state. And what individuals need to know in our great state is these are individuals that get up every single day. They are trained, as you stated when you started, they are licensed blind vendors. So that means that they have gone through training through our agency, and that's through the Office of Vocational Rehab for the Blind. It's a almost a 6-month training program where they learn how to personal adjustment training first to their blindness, and then they learn how to, just as any small business, they are entrepreneurs. So we take them through small business training, take them through training in hospitality, and then from there they take a test for ServSafe. Just like if you're going to work in any business and any food service here, you have to do ServSafe.
Right.
All our vendors are required to get certified in ServSafe training and pass that exam. So once they finish all of that, then they are awarded their license, and that's when they can apply for different locations, and those locations can be at the Mississippi Department of Transportation, Employment Security. Those cafeterias there, they are all operated by someone that is a licensed blind vendor from our agency.
And Ed, in your case, much of your work has been with military bases, right?
Yes, Richard. The last 21 years I have been working primarily with military bases. I spent 21 years at NAS Meridian in Meridian, Mississippi, and didn't move to Keesler Air Force Base until the last 2 months.
So that is a new spot for you. Ed, what is your condition? Are you legally blind, or are you completely blind? And forgive me if that's an ignorant question, but I know there are kind of varying degrees of people who have sight issues in terms of what they can or cannot see.
Yeah, I'm legally blind. I can see to get around, but I can't drive.
Okay, so not able to drive. So how did you develop a company with your vision impairment, where you're legally blind, where you've been able to grow it the way you have and serve in this particular way?
Well, it all started out back in 1987 when I got in the program. I started out in a small over-the-counter sales, like prepackaged sandwiches and candy bars and chips and things at the Highway Lab on the corner of West and Woodrow Wilson, and just kept, every few years I would move up to either to a cafeteria, or I run the Capitol Cafe one time for a few years, the Wolf Oak State Office Building, the Tax Commission, and I just made the rounds and learned my way up. And finally in 2009 or 10, I was able to get 8A certified with the Small Business Administration, and was able to reach out and get some contracts that Randolph Shepherd didn't have a priority to in other states. Like I had a contract with the New Orleans and in Colorado Springs with the military bases there, and that, along with what I was learning at Meridian, has helped me, led me to Keesler Air Force Base.
So Ed, what does your business look like on a day-to-day basis?
I have 160 some odd employees that are cooks,
wow.
Bus people, dishwashers. I have about 14 managers, supervisors, and that's just that's 7 days a week. We serve 4,500 meals a day.
4,500 a day.
Right.
And what is your, I mean, are you operating as the CEO of the company where you're empowering your employees? Are you involved in the day-to-day food preparation? Is it ordering? What's your role?
Being at the beginning of the process, I'm playing a part of right now in learning everything, but I oversee everything that goes on there. They're teaching me what I need to know so I can take over one day myself if that was ever the need be. But my team and partner that I'm working with, they're working with me day to day to make sure that I know how to run it just as well as they do. And so I oversee everything from things that are dirty to making sure everybody's fed, inventory's coming in, just everything from top to bottom.
Dorothy, what an incredible story Ed has, and I'm assuming that Ed is not alone, that you've got other examples of people who have, whether it's blindness in the particular area that you work in or other limitations, and gosh, it's got to be so uplifting to see these stories playing out in the way that they do.
Yes. Let me just add to what Mr. Turner stated. As you stated, Eddie is the licensed blind vendor for Keesler Air Force Base. But before that, he explained to you how he was at a different location.
Right.
So we have over 27 licensed blind vendors that's working different businesses all across our state, in state or federal buildings. And those individuals could be working vending routes. Those individuals could be working in cafeterias that are a lot smaller than a military base, such as the cafeteria at Mississippi Department of Transportation. That cafeteria there has a licensed blind vendor operating that. We have another cafeteria we're going to be the two Mississippi museums. That is a licensed blind vendor operating. We just had a grand opening at the Hen and Egg that we was on SuperTalk not too long ago promoting that. That's a licensed blind vendor also. Any cafeteria in a state or federal building is operated by a licensed blind vendor. So it's 27 located all over the state. And I want to add that we also operate your rest areas. So when you all are traveling in our great state and you stop at our rest areas and you use those vending machines are belong to the Mississippi Department of Rehab Services, and they are operated by our licensed blind vendors. They are the ones that's going out there filling up those vending machines, and that's their business. That's how they make their living to take care of their families. And so the entire program with the Office of Vocational Rehab for the Blind serves any Mississippian in the state that is have a vision impairment. This does not have to be legally blind, and I want to bring this up because you distinctly asked about legally blind. Legally blind is for the criteria, the vision acuity for the Randolph-Shepard program. That's the federal requirement for anyone that is a licensed blind vendor in our program. You have to be legally blind, and that vision acuity is 2,200.
This is incredible. I tell you what, let's, if you don't mind, can you guys hang with me through the break? A couple more questions I'd love to get to before we wrap things up this morning.
Okay.
Dorothy Young, who is the director with the Office of Vocational Rehab for the Blind at MDRS, and Eddie Turner, who is a blind vendor that is now working at Keesler Air Force Base, overseeing the food service operation there. Pretty enlightening and empowering and uplifting stories. Take a quick time out. We'll wrap things up with you next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Forever and ever, forever and ever, forever and ever. Amen.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
You heard it here first.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Here comes the news.
Back with you one last time this morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. Couple of messages on the C Spire text line. Dorothy, this one's from you. It's from Mike. He says, I worked with Dorothy at the Department of Rehab, great organization, and she is a great person to work with in helping our community, and he wanted me to tell you hello. So from Mike, a kind message there.
Thank you.
Get another message. Says, I used to call on and work with some of the blind workers at different military bases. They actually manufactured and distributed products. All employees were legally blind, did amazing work, and the number of products that they could make was mind-boggling. Ed, when you hear a message like that, and frankly, I'm going to raise my hand and say, this is, forgive me, pardon the pun, it's eye-opening to me to hear about the work that is going on with parts of our community that I think a lot of people would just assume you can't do anything if you can't see.
Yeah.
And yet you, on a daily basis, and so many others like you, are just proving that to be just as wrong as it can be.
Yeah, it's the norm to me. It's nothing unusual, because I've seen what we could do for so long, and blind people can do just about anything anybody else can do.
Yeah.
And at our agency, with the Office of Vocational Rehab for the Blind, we work with over 1,700 just in our vocational rehabilitation program for the blind. And that's with individuals who have macular degeneration, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, cataracts, keratoconus. We probably work with every doctor office, University of Mississippi Medical Center, Mississippi Retina, any patient that is having a visual impairment that is significant and is keeping them from going to work or getting a job because of their vision. They're referring those Mississippians to us for services. And those services could be surgeries. Those surgeries could be personal adjustment, to where we have to send you to our Eddie McBride Center that's located on the campus of University of Mississippi Medical Center, or our new training center that we just opened in Long Beach, the Mississippi Emerge Center, or just like putting you in our Randolph-Shepard program to become a licensed blind vendor. We just closed, put back to work 289 individuals in our great state that are now taxpayers. And when we closed those cases, individuals were earning over $19 an hour. And so I just want that to be said about the great work that our agency does at the Mississippi Department of Rehab Services. Going back to the 90 years, this year our conference will be held September the 10th through the 12th. I want to thank our Executive Director, Mr. Billy Taylor, Eddie Turner, who's the Chairman of the Committee of Blind Vendors, and our Communication Director, Jennifer Gray, because 90 years of individuals in our great state that are legally blind that have got up every morning and went to work filling vending machines or operating cafeterias, and they did not let their vision stop them from being taxpayers in our great state. September the 10th, we start at 12 o'clock. Senator Solly Norwood would be there, and he would open up our conference for us. We will start off with lunch, and then we will go into our history with our executive director, and we have speakers from all over the country that will be coming in. At 4:30, we'll have happy hour, our reception at the Hen and Egg at our cafeteria downtown. Our Committee of Blind Vendors will be there. We'll have live music. And then on Friday, we'll go back into training. And on Saturday, we'll have our gala at Table 100. And this is where we will unveil the history of the 90-year of the Randolph Shepherd program, where we have interviewed the longest-serving Randolph Shepherd program director in the country for this program is from Mississippi, Mr. Bob McDonald.
That's outstanding. Dorothy told us earlier that it was 1937 when the Mississippi legislature signed the Randolph Shepherd Act into law. It's celebrating its 90th year. Dorothy, just kind of as a way of wrapping this up, I know there's so many directions we could go, but I was thinking, how often do you come across people who go, I had no idea that this was a thing, that programs like this existed to help people who are blind to overcome the challenges that they have, to find jobs, to be tax-paying citizens, to find fulfillment, to find work just on a daily basis?
What's the thing that we say a lot of times? Our agency is the best kept secret. And really, when you think about it, things do not come into play until it hits you, right?
Yeah.
You don't start looking for things until tables turns for you in your life. And I can just speak from my own experience, right? And I have family members that live with vision impairment. Until you have a loved one and that loved one needs services, then you start looking for, what can I do?
Outstanding information. And if you need more information, you can go to the Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services website. You can find out more about this. And
then you can call our agency at 1-800-443-1000. Agency website is www.mdrs.ms.gov.
Outstanding. Dorothy would love to visit with you. Eddie, Dorothy, thank you so much for your time this morning. Wish you all the best, and congratulations on this celebration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. We'll do it again tomorrow morning just after 6. Have a great Wednesday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.